Welcome to the people and your energy. Welcome to this moment in time. At this point, we need to extend the knowledge a little on harmony and look at factors of frequency. Whilst we have completed the series of introductory information, we should extend some components of it to give you further insight. When we look at harmony, we need to look at frequency. Frequency is the indicator of a harmonious being. If a person is in a frequent alignment, they have harmony inside them, harmony around them, and are in a natural state of well-being. An individual who is not in a frequency aligned to themselves is in a disruptive or chaotic state. This individual requires alignment in some form, which could occur through the energy of another, a situational change, or the individual themselves stimulating this realignment. To look at frequency, there are some factors that are commonly discussed, which should be discussed a little more. These factors will run in a similar vein and should be discussed together. We want to look at the factors of stress and depression and cancer. If you look at stress, you can see stress is an indication of an energy that is stressed. You have just like a wing or metal that is stressed, a fracture. The fracture will occur at a weak point in an individual. This could be a moment, this could be an area of energy or a physical attribute of the person. It does not occur at a strong point, only a weak point. The stress is an indicator that the energy is built up, pushing the individual in a direction that does not want to go. So, indicator gives you an indication. You do not want to go in this direction anymore. To have a stress impact on the individual in such a way, the individual must have had stress for a while or had huge amount of stress. For the body has a system where it is able to secrete cholesterol to annihilate the minimal impacts of a minimal amount of stress. It is a neutralizer that chemically allows the individual to move beyond minimal amounts of stress. So when you have a stress impacting on an individual and the stress shows, you have a situation where you have outdone the cholesterol that is secreted. Sometimes people will also use cortisone, a natural cortisone in the body, to neutralize or nullify situation. So whichever chemical we are alluding to, it is still overused. And availability, you don't have enough to outdo what is occurring at the moment. Individuals will often curtail the situation, trying to remove it and remove the stress. Reduce the workload, reduce a situation, take time out, have a holiday. Many of these activities are avoidance. They delay having to resolve the situation. If you delay it, you just wait for it to come again, and you may be lucky in that it is a moment of minimal stress. But for most people, you have just delayed it, tossed the ball in the air one more time, and wait for it to come down. It will come down on top of everything else. So the stress occurs at a weak point. Also occurs at a point of great learning. It is a moment where you are weak, a moment that is identified in your energy that needs adjustment, and wants to be recognized. It is also a powerful moment if it is resolved. Most individuals avoid resolving the moment. They will tend to alleviate the moment, allow the moment to disappear, to be forgotten, avoid the moment, or will defer the moment to someone else to try and resolve. those individuals will be confronted with the moment again. And stress will occur one more time, even worrying about how it is to be achieved later on will incur more stress. So when you have stress, you have a moment in which you have a weakness exposed for learning, and you have also a moment which could be and needs to be addressed at the time. It is an important moment for you to not have stress if it's not important. And if you are able to resolve it in the moment, around the moment, near to the moment, you will find yourself a freedom in your energy where this stress does not occur again. There is a great relief when you are de-stressed. So what is depression? Depression is a moment in which the brain is stressed, overworked, and unable to facilitate function, often because of a situation or because of an unanswerable question. Some people will be chemically inclined to be depressed from birth. Those people will have a minimal condition and be depressed, for their ability to overcome the condition, to alleviate the condition, to be able to answer the question, is not as great as others. But if you are depressed, you are given an indicator of the stress. You are also given an indicator of an answer. A depression is a dip in the road. It is a dip, it is a pointer to dip, to go lower. If you are working in the brain of an individual, it's an indicator to go beyond the cerebral part of the brain into the cortexual part of the brain and the limbic brain for response. If you are working symbolically or spiritually, it's an indicator to go to your soul. It hits you to the answer, where the answer is going to come from. It does not give you the answer, for it can't give you the answer. It tried to, and you got depressed. And in the indication of where the answer is, it's just a matter of staying in the energy of this zone, this dimension, this area of the brain, and quickly the answer will come. But most people find these other areas of sensation unfamiliar and unsupportive, and quickly will revert to looking for an answer in the distressed brain. So they become more and more depressed, forced to look deeper and deeper, for constantly they fight to find in the answers in the mind. In the medical model, individuals are often given substances to numb the brain, to excite areas of emotion and feeling, and these chemical inhibitors and enhancers will create false environment for the information to pass clearly from the other cortexual parts of the brain or from the soul into awareness. It is difficult to ask a depressed person to stay depressed, to look into their depression to find an answer. It is difficult also because most individuals do not have others who can capably guide them to the answer in the process. Depression is an indicator that an answer is beyond your brain, the cerebral part of your brain. It's created through stress and gives an indication of source. Cancer. Cancer is a commonly occurring physical dysfunction. It's a situation in which a body is under stress, creating cells which destroy healthy other cells. Those cells have had enough. They have constantly been bombarded with physical conditions, vibrational conditions of stress, emotional or mental, outside conditions, pollutants and other factors, and have had enough. So imagine you have a group of people in this room who are harmonious, like each other, hold hands, hug each other constantly every day. Then there is influence from outside, or someone changes the chemical condition. Someone is a little hormonal. You can see soon enough another will react. It's not a problem until the hormonal person is constantly hormonal, constantly trying to agitate the harmonious cells. So when the stress is too intense for the body to cope, the body tries to repulse the moment of physical stress. It turns on the factors that constantly keep stimulating it. It's the frequency that is not aligned that is agitating cells to create cancer. The frequency comes from the body in stress, and this stress could be attributed to physical, emotional, mental or spiritual conditions. It is a simple process. There are numerous types of cancer affecting different organs. They are effective because in the area of greatest stress, they have had enough. And so the therapies that relate to an area as being representative of cause, the brain, too much thinking, the heart, not enough joy, those correlations can be quite correct. Quite correct. For vibrationally, you can explain the condition and how it has been caused. They all come from stress. The stress on the organs, on the system of the individual. In a medical model, you can race to the symptoms, you can race to the condition, and you can alleviate temporarily what's going on, hope the body will rectify itself, and sometimes it will, as long as stress is minimal. But if stress is not, then constantly new cells in a similar area that replace old cells will be given a similar frequency. Agitate the harmonious group and create more disturbance. If the point of previous disturbance has been reinforced, even just chemically, many cancers will create another form in another area of a body. You don't get cancers in animals very prevalent, except the animals that have been humanized and live according to the frequency of mankind rather than their natural frequency. Very interesting. You have some factors now of frequency that relate to harmony, and commonly talked about and discussed with many different ways to be viewed. You have stress, a common factor in depression and cancer, and you have a spiritual insight in how you might look at these factors of frequency. This has been your time.
Usually get up very gently. And these questions, you may have to have some hands on, we'll really be able to get more into that.